At UFC 319, middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis is about to face the kind of test that could define his career. Across the cage in Chicago will be the undefeated wrecking machine, Khamzat Chimaev, finally getting his first crack at UFC gold. For du Plessis, this fight is already massive. But according to one former heavyweight, it could just be the beginning of something even bigger, literally. Du Plessis has never competed above the middleweight limit in his MMA career. In fact, earlier in his fighting days in South Africa, he competed as low as 170 pounds. But recent wins over Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland have skyrocketed his status, with some even floating his name in middleweight GOAT conversations. Joe Rogan has repeatedly pointed out just how big du Plessis is for the division, calling him massive for a middleweight. And now, former UFC heavyweight Brendan Schaub believes that size could open the door to history. On the JAXXON podcast, Schaub didn't just suggest du Plessis move up, he went bold. "I think whoever wins out of Khamzat and DDP, whoever wins that, can go for 3 belts, Schaub said. In UFC history, no one has ever claimed championships in 3 separate weight classes. But Schaub sees du Plessis as a legitimate candidate to pull it off. DDP's bigger than Khamzat, so looking at light heavyweight, he's probably a light heavyweight naturally, Schaub explained. So it makes sense for DDP to go to light heavyweight. Heavyweight isn't a stretch for him. DDP's a big boy. The timing almost worked out for du Plessis to make a move sooner. Before Alex Pereira lost his light heavyweight belt to Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 313, there was serious talk of du Plessis stepping up to challenge him. Pereira has since teased a run at heavyweight before retiring, which could still line up as a future superfight down the road. But first, du Plessis has to get through Chimaev, and not everyone believes that's going to happen. Middleweight contender Shara Bullet Magomedov, fresh off a win in Abu Dhabi, outright predicted that Chimaev will run through du Plessis at UFC 319. The two have already traded shots on social media, with du Plessis trolling Magomedov in a bizarre tweet after his last fight. Magomedov isn't alone in his prediction. Chimaev's unbeaten UFC run includes dominant middleweight wins over Robert Whittaker and Kamaru Usman, and he's been hyped as a future champion for years. His relentless wrestling, pressure, and finishing ability have left a trail of battered opponents in multiple weight classes. Still, du Plessis has a style that could make things complicated for Chimaev. His unorthodox movement, explosive striking, and, most importantly, his proven takedown defense could be the exact tools needed to shut down Chimaev's game. If he can keep the fight standing and force Chimaev into deep waters, du Plessis might flip the script on all the predictions. And if he does, the ripple effect could be massive. Not only would du Plessis keep his belt, but he'd silence critics like Magomedov, and open the door to something historic. A move to light heavyweight. A future showdown with Pereira. Maybe even a run at heavyweight to chase an unprecedented 3rd title. At UFC 319, du Plessis isn't just fighting to defend his championship, he might be fighting for the chance to rewrite UFC history. Don't miss out on the latest MMA news. If you're a fan of MMA or the UFC, please subscribe to my channel, it really helps me out, and I'd appreciate it more than you know. Thanks so much, and just hit that subscribe button below.